Hi, I'm going to share with you a recipe that was the very first low-carb, high-fat recipe that I put together myself, and I was really proud of it. It was about a year and a half ago, and this is a low-carb carrot cake cheesecake, and it is low carb, I promise, and it is one of my family's favorites. So let's jump in and get started. It's perfect for the holidays. Okay, so I'm going to start with 2 cups of almond flour. Now what I like to do is use 1.5 cups of almond flour and 1/2 cup of oat fiber. If you don't have the oat fiber, just use 2 cups of almond flour. That will be fine. We're going to add to this 6 tablespoons of protein powder. I'm using a vanilla egg white protein powder. You can use a vanilla whey protein or an unflavored whey protein. I tend to like egg white protein better than the, egg white rather than whey. So I've added that. To this, we're going to add, 1 cup of sweetener. Now I'm using one of my favorite new products, Sukrin Gold, and it is a brown sugar low carb alternative. This is just something I've discovered lately. They sent me some products to try, and then I've ordered several products, but this is a brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, you can use just 1 cup and a half of whatever granulated sweetener you have. You can also use a tablespoon or teaspoon or 2 of molasses, and the molasses help give it that rich dark brown flavor. It is wonderful, and I've enjoyed using it, using that brown sugar product. To the dry ingredients, or with the dry ingredients, we're going to add salt. This is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add baking soda. This is this is 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm checking my notes to make sure I tell you. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And must have been some moisture in that cup. And I'm going to add baking powder. So this recipe is going to get baking soda and baking powder. The baking powder is 3/4 teaspoon. That's 3/4 teaspoon. And anytime you use baking soda, anytime you use baking soda, you need acid to activate it. So we're going to be adding that later on, one of the last things we're going to add. The last of the dry ingredients we're going to add is some cinnamon, and this is 1 full teaspoon of cinnamon. And you can use whatever your favorite cinnamon is. I haven't tried some of the new cinnamons that are out, but I hear really great things about it. And I'm also going to add some butter now, but it's 2/3 cup of melted butter, and I put that in the microwave and did not check on it before I started videoing. So when I paused just a little bit ago, I was like, oh, I forgot that. But I'm going to add the eggs, and this is 3 eggs. Okay, and I'm going to add 1/2 cup of heavy cream. It's 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And you can mix all of this with a hand blender or a hand mixer. You could do it in a stand mixer if you wanted to. I tend to mix it by hand because it's pretty easy. And there's my 3/4 cup of melted butter, just good old melted Kerrygold. As always, you don't have to run to keep up with what I'm putting in, because I will put it in the comments. And this is going to make a pretty thick batter, and that's a good thing, because what happens with this recipe, with the carrot cake cheesecake, is you're going to have the carrot cake as your crust. So you put the carrot cake in the bottom of the springform pan, and then you're going to put a cheesecake filling on top of that, and then we're going to top it with cream cheese icing. So as you can see, this is a really rich dessert, and a little bit really does go a long way. Okay, my eggs are in there pretty well beaten. Let's add the carrots. And this is 1/2 cup of shredded carrot. I used to do it with 2/3 cup, and honestly, 1/2 cup is enough. And I know that on a low carb way of eating, carrots can cause panic because we don't eat root vegetables. But truly, 1/2 cup of the shredded carrots gives it a great flavor. And when you divide that over the entire cake, it really isn't a lot of carbs in the grand scheme of things. Okay, let's add in our vanilla extract. This is 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And this is, the last thing is our apple cider vinegar. And this is 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And when you put that in, you're gonna see it kind of react with the baking soda. You'll see it start to bubble, and that's a good thing. Like I said, this is really pretty thick, which is also a good thing. And I'm gonna taste it for sweetness. I may need to add some liquid sweetener. Now, I have really enjoyed the Sukrin Gold, and I have added to it, when it's really thick, I have added 1/4 cup of the liquid gold fiber. I'm not gonna do that this time. If it was super, super thick, I probably would. But I may add a little liquid sweetener. Let's see. I actually think it's sweet enough. That brown sugar gives it such a nice flavor. Okay, we're gonna dump this in here. And like I said, it's really nice and thick. And that's a good thing. Again, I think I say this in every video, but I wish that you guys could smell it because it smells so amazing with the cinnamon and the brown sugar. And I've made a mess on the edge. Let's get that off of there. I always do something goofy like that. And I'm just gonna smooth it out. Now, if you can, it's really thick. And as you smooth it out, if you can kind of get some of the batter up against the edges and make a bit of a well for the cheesecake, because you really do want the cake part, the carrot cake part, to be on the outside edges. It doesn't have to be perfect. I say that in every video too, because I'm such a imperfect cook. I just to kind of taught myself, and I cook what I like, what my family likes, and I'm not fancy by any stretch. A subscriber told me that she had contacted the Food Network and told them that I needed my own show, and I just kind of laughed at that because I can imagine that they would see these videos and just cringe at some of the crazy stuff I do. Like taste batter with raw egg in it. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done is I've made a little bit of a well. It's messy, but it's pushed up against the sides. So let me pick this up a little bit. I'm gonna pause the video. We'll pick this up a little bit, and we'll make the cheesecake filling. So carrot cake is done. Set it aside, and we'll do the cheesecake. Okay, let's make the cheesecake mixture. I've got 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. As always, use the cream cheese that is lower in carbs, 1 carb per serving. I've got that in here. I've been just beating it with a hand mixer. To it, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sweetener. I am using the Sukrin granulated sweetener, which is an erythritol and stevia blend. I have not had to worry about an aftertaste. I made this last weekend for my mother's birthday, and she loved it. And the best thing was she said there's no aftertaste, and so I had not had to mix it. I'm going to taste it for sweetness, and I may add a couple of drops of my liquid sweetener. So let's mix that all together. And I don't have to be too careful with this. I'm going to add 2 eggs. I don't have to be too careful with the order, that's what I'm trying to say. Although I will definitely leave the vanilla extract until the end. I'm using a hand mixer just because it's so much easier to blend the cheesecake. And I just want to blend it till it's creamy and smooth. It looks really good. I am going to put a couple drops of sweetener. That was about 6 drops in an oops. So I hope it is good. And this mixes up really quickly. The oven should be preheated to 300 degrees. So make sure you do that. And the last thing I'm going to do is add my vanilla. It's a full tablespoon of vanilla. You know that I love vanilla extract. Butter makes it better, and vanilla makes it better. And I generally use a pretty good quality vanilla extract, not an imitation vanilla, but a true vanilla extract. I should make my own. All right, let's give that a try, see if it's sweet enough. So simple, just sweetener, cream cheese, eggs, and that's it. Perfect. All right, our cheesecake is waiting for us, so let's grab, our carrot cake. Let's grab the carrot cake again. And this is just my springform pan. Now, as I said, we're gonna put this in on top of the carrot cake. I have spent time in the past baking the carrot cake a little bit before I put it in, but I really don't think that's necessary. We'll see. Okay, so we're gonna put this right on top. Now, when this goes into the oven, it's going in at 300 degrees, as I mentioned. Look how nicely it's going right into that well we made. Perfect. We're good. Maybe we do need the Food Network to call us, right? Okay. I'm kidding. Okay, we're gonna put this right on top. We're gonna put it in the oven at 300 degrees. Now, 300 degrees is a fairly low temperature, and so it's going to have to go a good hour, probably more like an hour and 10 minutes. Now, if I was a real good cook, I would probably put this in a water bath because of the cheesecake. I've never had to do that before. It's always turned out really nice. So, this is going to go in the oven at 300 degrees. While it bakes, we're going to make an icing. Now, this is a sweet recipe, and normally I would not put an icing on it, but when I first did the recipe, my husband said, it's a carrot cake, you've got to have a cream cheese icing. And so I made a cream cheese icing and put it on. So that's just kind of my tradition. You can skip that step, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to show you just in case you decide to. Well, our cheesecake and carrot cake is in the oven, 300 degrees. It's going to go about an hour, hour and 10 minutes. While that's in the oven, I'm going to make icing. Now, keep in mind that like any cheesecake, that's going to come out of the oven, it's going to have to cool. Your cheesecakes really need to sit for 6 to 8 hours or even better overnight. So I'm going to pull it out of the oven when it's finished, and it still may be a little bit jiggly. It'll set up. You don't want it a lot jiggly, but it'll be a little bit jiggly. I'm going to set it out, let it sit overnight in the fridge, and then I'll frost. I'll put the icing on tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and make the icing so that I can show you what that looks like. And then tomorrow, we'll take the ring off of the springform pan and cut into it and see what we think. Okay, so to make the icing, super simple. 8 ounces of cream cheese, a lot of cream cheese in this recipe. 8 ounces of cream cheese, again, the lower carb. 3 tablespoons of butter. It's just 3 tablespoons of Kerrygold. And I'm going to use 2 different ingredients. I'm going to use confectioner sugar, again, the Sukrin product. I love this product. When I made it last week, like I said, my mother said, there's no aftertaste of this. And with the confectioner's erythritol, there generally is that aftertaste. And so I generally use the liquid sucralose. You can use liquid sucralose or liquid stevia. This already has a mix of erythritol and stevia in it, and so maybe that's why there's no aftertaste. If you don't have the Sukrin confectioner sugar, you can take any granulated sweetener, erythritol or xylitol, put it through a blender and get your own confectioner sugar, so you don't have to order this. If you do want to order any of the Sukrin products, I do have a discount code that gives you 10% off, and that's the code that I use. Again, please understand, I'm not endorsing these products for any compensation. I don't get paid to do this. I don't make any commission off your orders. It's just a product that I really enjoy and want to pass on to you guys. Okay, let's mix this up. It's the cream cheese and the butter. And I'm going to add, this is really not, it didn't warm up at all, so it's really not easy. I'm going to add 1/3 cup of the confectioner sweetener. And as you can imagine, it's really thick. Going to add to it the vanilla extract, and this is a full teaspoon of the vanilla extract. Let me turn it off a little bit. I know it's hard to hear me over this. Now, if it's too thick for you, you may want to thin it with some cream, some heavy cream. I don't usually, and again, it's just a traditional, like a buttercream. I don't have the strongest spatula in my hand. That's happened to me before where that comes out. I don't know why it does it. Another product that I've been using a lot lately, and I use it for a lot of different things. I've been using it to make a pudding, but I've been using glucomannan, and glucomannan, if I'm saying it correctly, is in the miracle noodles, and it makes a nice, it's just a great thickener, and it really comes in handy to thicken things up, and it makes a great pudding. This is super thick already, so I'm going to add a little cream. That is 2 tablespoons of cream. You can trust me on that. And that's it. I am going to add a little bit of glucomannan. It just makes the texture amazing. Now don't add it all at once. You'll notice I'm sprinkling this in and mixing it as I go. If you add it, if you add it all at once, it's going to be a big gloopy mess. Let me take that spatula out. Let me get all the sides off the bowl. There we go. And take that spatula out. It's so thick, I'm having a hard time. And I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. I know that never happens at your house. At least I don't have like a kid dancing behind me. And before I forget, let's taste it for sweetness. Put a little bit. You could put more confectioner sweetener. I'm going to put a little liquid sucralose. That was about 4 drops. Again, you can use liquid stevia, or more powdered sweetener. All right, let's give this a try. And I used about half a teaspoon of glucomannan. You can use more than that. It gives it a great, great texture. In fact, I think I will add just a little bit more. It's already pretty thick, and it's just a nice cream cheese icing. So I'm going to sprinkle a little of this, and all in all, I put about 2 teaspoons. If you don't have glucomannan, leave it out. I don't usually add it. It's just something new I'm playing with. So if you don't have it, don't give it a second thought. It just gives it a really light and airy texture, and that's why I like it. Again, taste it for sweetness and make sure that it's to your liking. And this is our cream cheese icing. You can add some cinnamon to it if you want to. I really don't think you need to. And in fact, you can absolutely leave this off with the cream, with the cheesecake, carrot cake. I think that works. It could stand to be a little sweeter, but it's just a basic cream cheese icing. All right, I'm gonna set this all aside, put it in the fridge overnight, let my carrot cake cheesecake cool overnight, and tomorrow we'll put the icing on it and we'll cut it and see what we think. Okay, I think our cheesecake carrot cake is about ready to come out of the oven. It's been on for 50 minutes, a little more than that, and you can see it's getting brown on top. I jiggle it just a little bit, and I think it's perfect. It's gotten kind of brown around the edges, which is fine. So I'm going to take it out of the oven, turn the oven off, and I wish you could smell it. That's how it looks. And I'm just going to set it down to cool. Once it's cooled off for an hour or so, I'll put it in the oven, and then tomorrow we'll see how well we did. Okay, our carrot cake cheesecake has been in the fridge overnight, and so it's had a good 16 hours, and I'm excited to open that and show you what it looks like, but I'm more excited to have my friend Jen here to try it. Jen and her family went low carb, high fat about a year ago, and they've had just incredible changes. So she's going to tell you about that while I work on this.
Okay. We started the low carb, high fat way of eating January 1st of 2014. 15, yes, so almost a year. So, and we have had some really good success. My husband, Todd, has struggled with diabetes for years, and he was actually on insulin. He was work on Lantus, 40 units of Lantus. He was on metformin, and he was on glimepiride. So he was on 3 different medications for his diabetes. And since going low carb, high fat, I've lost 50 pounds, and he is on no medication at all. We have pretty much reversed, they don't like to say reverse diabetes, but we have come very close to doing that for him too, and for our family. We have loved Kristie's videos. It has helped us cook. We have fun doing it together. It has just changed our way of life. I don't like to call it a diet. It's a lifestyle change, and we have embraced it, and we love it, and we're trying to incorporate it too with our kids. But this is going to be awesome for Thanksgiving, so I'm really excited about it.
Well, and I'm excited about not just the weight loss for you guys, which to me has been phenomenal, but his labs. When Jen called me and told me about Todd's labs, I was like, oh my gosh, this man's a walking heart attack.
Yes.
It scared me to death to hear about his labs.
Absolutely.
But his recent labs were
Been
pretty
really, really good. Yeah, his
good.
A1C, for those of you that know about that, was 14, which is, you do not see that. It is astronomical. And his triglyceride level was also really, really high. And on his last physical, everything is within normal limits, and he's off of all medications. He was even on a statin medication that he's also off of now. And he's doing really well. Blood pressure is perfect. Sugar is very good. We're never hungry. We love eating this way, and it's just been really, really awesome.
And the triglycerides, I think all of those
Triglycerides
things
have come down, everything. Triglycerides and sugars, work together. So a lot of times when you take care of the sugars, the triglycerides come down as well too.
Yeah, so it's just been incredible.
It
I think
has. It's
I'm
been
excited
really good.
for all of you. And to manage it through food and not the medications is really exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm icing this now. Jen told me right before we started taping that she decorates cakes, so she's probably looking at this going, good Lord, what are you doing? But I warmed up the icing that I made earlier. I just had it in the fridge overnight. I warmed it up, and I'm just spreading it on the top, and it's not going to be pretty. She probably would pipe
it looks really good.
She would probably pipe it in there, but this is just a basic cream cheese icing. You don't even have to put it on there. It's thicker in the middle because I've got a little divot in the middle. But anyway, you don't even have to put it, but because it is carrot cake, my husband thinks it needs the cream cheese icing. So that's kind of it. And you could warm it up and drizzle it over it and make it really pretty. You could put it on the sides. I'm not going to worry too much about pretty. I have some chopped pecans. Sometimes I put little carrot shreds on top. I'm just going to sprinkle these chopped pecans on top. It doesn't have any nuts inside. We have a family member who doesn't like nuts, so I don't usually do that. I just put a little on top to make it pretty and to give a little bit of crunch for those of us who do like it. So anyway, nothing fancy, just gonna sprinkle that. Let's cut it and see what it looks like.
It looks really good.
So have you made some low carb desserts for your family?
Yes, I've made a lot. We make a lot of cheesecakes. There's a lemon cheesecake that I love, and then I also make of course, the skillet chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah,
and I'll watch all of Kristie's videos. They've really helped us because I do have a sign in my kitchen that says I kiss better than I cook, and it's true. But after Kristie's videos, it's been really easy to follow.
Now this is a big slice, and I hope it comes out nice.
Oh, that does look good.
That's a big slice, bigger than I probably would eat, but there it is. And you can see the cake makes almost like a crust, and then you've got the cheesecake in the center. So you want to give it a try? I've got some forks. Now, I have extra plates, and Jennifer's husband's here and her son, so if they want to try it, and if my husband wants to try it, they can join us. I'm going to cut a piece that's probably more like a normal size. I'm going to cut a couple.
Over here. Looks good.
Here's Todd. You want to give it a try? That's what you got, the small piece.
Really good.
And this is Michael, their son. And
Carrot cake
he's like,
is
what
a
have you got
favorite.
me into?
Looks good.
Okay, and I'll turn that so you can see all the cheesecake and the yummy cake. All right, guys.
All right.
And give it a try. See what you think.
Sure, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think you could eat it?
It is so good. It's so good. This will be made for Thanksgiving in our house.
You think?
Definitely
We've
one.
been looking for something good
If
for
we can
Thanksgiving.
do it.
Yeah, we can do
Oh,
this.
it's easy. You can do it.
The
definitely.
cheesecake is
Really
so,
good.
and I love, that tastes really good. The cake part.
Have you gotten any of the cake? I was going to ask. It
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
got-
Usually there's more
the bottom.
cake. This turned out a little different. There's more cake on the sides.
I like the pecans on the top too, but I like crunchy.
And you can add pecans or walnuts inside. So
It's so good.
that's our low carb carrot cake cheesecake. If you make it for your
So
family,
good.
I hope they enjoy it too.
They'll love it. Wow.